Welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video, and welcome to the new year. So for our first UFC fight prediction video of 2020, I'll be predicting the main card fights for UFC 246, McGregor versus Cowboy. So without further ado, let's get to our first prediction on the main card. So in our first fight, we have in the lightweight division, Anthony Pettis versus Carlos Diego Ferreira. So Pettis is returning back to the lightweight division. I think after a 1-1 stint up at welterweight, went up there and shocked the world by beating Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and then had a very lackluster performance against Nate Diaz, in which he lost. And yeah, now he's returning back to lightweight. So this is a pretty interesting matchup right here. Pettis has been up and down for a good number of years, and Ferreira is coming on and is hot as ever. He's like on a 5-6 fight winning streak, or I don't know, pretty lengthy. Definitely more than 3, probably roughly around 4 to 5 winning streak. I'm not gonna really look into that too much, but he's definitely on a hot streak. Coming off probably the best win of his career over Maribek Taisumov. So he's coming off a pretty good win, and he's on a solid winning streak over some pretty good names. So Ferreira has a steam, and Pettis is still trying to find that steam, or maybe it's lost, or maybe he's fighting such good competition that it's hard to stay consistent. But yeah, so looking at this fight right here, what I'm saying for Ferreira is definitely an improvement in striking. His grappling has always been solid, but his fight IQ has been improving, and his striking is probably the biggest aspect that has been seen in most improvements. So it's been firstly his striking improvements, and then secondly his fight IQ improving, because he's been getting more used to this level of competition. Been, had over 10 fights in the UFC now, been some years in there now. His stuff is starting to click for him, so he's looking real good, and he's making the right decisions in mid-fight, and he's able to stand and strike. And matter of fact, I'll strike a lot of people now, and where in the past he was more so just try to get you to the ground and submit you. Now he can do damage on the feet and make people try to take him down now, because he's just improving in the area. Well, Pettis, it's pretty much Pettis has been Pettis his whole career. He's been trying to make some improvements here, try to work on wrestling here and there. I think over these past couple fights, he's trying to get back to just being Pettis instead of not trying to spend so much time on grappling, so more so on wrestling in his camps. He's just been doing what he's been good at. And it did help him get a win over Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but then in his last fight against Nate Diaz, it just showed he just lost again. So I don't know if he's finding. Oh, also in the Michael Chiesa fight, I think the Michael Chiesa fight was the first fight he went back to just being Pettis, and that was a win. Then came up and weighed, and he beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. So it worked a little bit. 2-1, better than going 2-2. Let's see how I see this fight. So I see this fight going. I'm actually going to lean to Pettis. I think Ferreira is a slight or a good bit of a favorite in this one. I'm going to lean to Pettis. I think in Ferreira's fight, I think his striking hasn't evolved that much yet. He's been getting better at pressuring, getting better at getting the technique behind his strikes, getting his weight behind his strikes and stuff. But really in that Maribek Taisumov fight, it was more so Taisumov blowing his wide and Ferreira fighting such a smart fight. He did have a good game plan. He weathered the storm, wore out Taisumov, and made Taisumov start going for the same things over and over. And Ferreira was able to read that, wear him out a little bit, and just outwork him through the fight after that first round that Taisumov won. But against Pettis, against a high-level competitor like Pettis that has been a champion and been at the highest level, he's not going to keep doing the same things over and over. That's going to be predictable. There's ways to beat Pettis, and there's a route to beat Pettis. But I don't think Ferreira necessarily has the tools, or he hasn't put it together the way. I don't think his takedown offense is that great. So I think it'll be a hard time for him to take Pettis down. And on the ground, Pettis is very slick. And yes, Ferreira is so deadly and so good on the ground, but I think Pettis can find ways to get back to his feet or attack submissions of his own to get back on his feet or set up reversals. I'm not saying he's a better grappler than Ferreira, but I think he can, find advantageous positions in these scrambles and get back to his feet. That ain't going to feed Pettis is just too unorthodox, too different, and going to bring so many looks that Ferreira hasn't seen yet. I think it's going to be one of these fights going to be close and gritty, but I think Pettis is going to be able to edge it out over Ferreira in a very close fight. So in this fight, I got Anthony Pettis via decision. Now on to our next fight we have in the women's strawweight division, Claudia Gadelha versus Alexa Grasso. So looking at this one right here, Grasso is a very solid fighter. I think she's been kind of skidding at first when she came in the UFC. Or she won her first fight. I think maybe she won her second fight. Then she kind of skidded a little bit, she went from being a top shelf prospect to kind of maybe she isn't who we thought she is. Then she kind of came back, and she kind of lost a close fight that probably should have went to her over Carla Esparza in Mexico and et cetera, et cetera. But she lost that fight. And how I see this fight right here, Alexa Grasso she's a solid striker, very light on her feet. She's has some good ground game and good scramble ability down there, but she can't really get back to her feet that well. You could take her down, it's going to take her a while to get back to her feet. And that Esparza fight, she looked good in the fight when she was on her feet or where she was able to attack some submissions, she's way too comfortable with being on her back, and that's not a good thing to go against from going to a wrestler. I mean, going to, coming off that one fight. I can see she had a couple fights in, like, before this fight. Like, I mean, after that Esparza fight, and then you saw some improvements there. But just judging based off that Esparza fight, she's way too comfortable off her feet on the ground. I mean, yeah, she's way too comfortable being on her back. I think if Gadelha puts her in that spot, I think it's going to not be a very good night for Grasso. I think she could have some success on the feet. But I see Gadelha is a much better striker in my opinion than Esparza is. Plus, she's a much better submission grappler than Esparza is. I just don't think she has the same work rate, but if she could take her down, and Grasso's going to be so comfortable being on her back in these type of situations, I don't think it's the best fight for her. And like, even when she gets back to her feet, it's not a clear advantage for her on the feet. I think Gadelha packs more power than Grasso on the feet. Grasso may be a little bit faster, more cardio, but I think Gadelha could probably outstrike Grasso, just landing the heavier shots and kind of shutting down the volume of Grasso, then mixing the takedowns and control on the ground. I just think this is probably still a competitive fight, but I think Grasso's willingness to be on the ground is going to be her downfall in this fight again, and I think Gadelha wins a pretty clear decision. I probably like a 29-28 type of decision, like probably like a 29-28, 30-27 type of this. So some judges going to see it 30-27. Still competitive, but I think Gadelha wins this one clear. So in this one, I got Claudia Gadelha via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the heavyweight division, Oleinik versus Maurice Greene. So I see this one right here. Maurice Greene has some very solid striking. He has a lot of power. He's very long, very dangerous guy on the feet. Also, he has some underrated submission skills as well. But I don't think that comes into play too much against Oleinik. I think Oleinik is clearly the better grappler between the two. Clearly the more experienced MMA fighter between the two. I think Maurice Greene is kind of dangerous early and maybe even to the second round, or depending on who he's fighting. But I think against Oleinik, he's more so going to be dangerous in the first round against Oleinik. But I think over time, Maurice Greene, as he starts to get tired and he starts to get pressured, he becomes very predictable, starts to drop his hands very low, be open to get hit. You see what he's going to throw next. But in that first round, it's hard to kind of read him a little bit because he has energy, he can mix things up very well. But when he starts to get tired, he starts to go to the same things over and over again. Hands start to drop and get lower. I think in those later rounds, Oleinik can stop him on the feet, or he can just get him into the ground and submit him. I think more so Oleinik's going to kind of weather that first round. And then in that second and third round, I mean, not second, third round, I'm probably thinking in the second round, he's going to be able to hurt him, get him to the ground, and submit him. So in this fight, I got Oleinik via second round submission. Now to our co-main event, we have in the women's bantamweight division, Holly Holm versus Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington. So this is a rematch between these two. I think they fought like a while back. Matter of fact, this might have been Holly Holm's last fight before she fought Ronda Rousey for the title them years back. But that doesn't really matter too much. Look at them now. I don't think much has changed between these two over the years. They both have improved, but have they really made improvements that's going to change the course of this fight between the two? Matter of fact, some of them have, like one of them has made improvements that I think can factor in this fight, and I think that's Holly Holm. Yes, Raquel Pennington has made improvements in her striking, has been in some pretty big fights, and has worked on her skill set. She's definitely better than she was those years ago. But I think as far as between the two of them, I think the one who made the most improvements is Holly Holm as far as style wise between the two. I think Holly Holm has definitely been working on the wrestling a little bit more, and her level changes. You've seen in her, I forget the name of her opponent just yet, but the taller chick, when I saw her level changes, that definitely improved, and she was able to pretty much wrestle a whole fight to a decision. So that was a significant improvement for Holly Holm. With Raquel Pennington, she's still kind of like not the most technical striker. She's kind of like a brawler in a way. She's gritty. She can endure the storm, power through it, and just make fights kind of like a brawl type of style. She's not like the most technical striker or the technical grappler, but she can brawl and come through that storm and find ways to win and make it gritty, get up close to you, and just make it a fight. Whereas Holly Holm, Holly Holm still can outstrike her. I mean, like outstrike her technically, out-volume strike her, outwork her, and now that she had that level change, she could definitely duck under and get takedowns on Rick Pennington. I don't think Pennington really defends takedown that well as far as her positioning. She's kind of upright a lot. She's kind of slow in the ways. Those slow kicks that you could catch and take her down. So there's a lot of opportunities to take Pennington down. She's not like really the best position or style to defend takedowns. She's real slow. She's upright. Kind of just those slow punches, and her kicks are even slower. So you could really easily duck and level changes on her. So I think Holly Holm's definitely what I've seen from her. She can get takedowns on Pennington. And then you could say it was a pure striking matchup. I said like Pennington, Holm can outstrike her technically, out-volume striker, and it's not like Pennington really has that knockout threat either. And then also Holly Holm in her Cyborg fight, she showed that she's been working on the clinch against the cage and working on that area. So if Pennington really only path to victory is try to get in, maybe land one lucky shot if that's an opportunity, or really with giving her style, her skill set, her best chance to get ready, try to make it a wall and stall type of fight. That's really not even open there either, because Holm has been working on that clinch against Cade. I think she can win that battle as well. So I only see any area that Pennington can beat her in, or at least can guarantee Pennington a path to victory. I don't think she has no clear path to victory. She's got to make it a gritty fight. That's her only opportunity, and that's not something I'm going to really lean on somebody to make it a fight. Because I know Holly Holm, all that experience she has, she can just keep it a technical fight and just out technique Pennington in every area and beat her in every single area of this fight. Maybe not the gritty, grindy, like this scrapping aspect, but she's not going to allow herself to get caught up in that. Given all the experience she had in boxing, all the experience she had in kickboxing, all the experience she had in MMA, she has never been in no gritty dogfight. She never allowed to. People have tried to make it that way, but I don't think it's going to change. Nobody else. I don't think Pennington's going to be the one that's going to make her get in that type of fight. So I just feel like Holly Holm beats her in every single aspect of this fight and wins another clear-cut decision. So in this fight, I got Holly Holm via decision. Now to our main event, we have in the welterweight division, Conor McGregor versus Donald Cerrone. So this is a pretty big fight right here, despite both men coming off 2 losses. So Conor McGregor is coming off a loss to Floyd Mayweather and a loss to Khabib Nurmagomedov. 2 fighters who are undefeated, by the way. And then you got Donald Cerrone coming off a loss to Tony Ferguson and a loss to Justin Gaethje. So both fighters are coming off 2 losses, but this is a big fight, mainly because of with the legacies both men have built, from the records and the careers that both men have built for themselves. Cerrone has so many accomplishments and so many wins, and has over big names as well. Just never won the big one. Conor McGregor has won the big one a couple times, never defended. And most importantly, he has drawn a lot of attention to himself and made a lot of money. And that's why this fight is big, based off not what they've done lately, based off numbers, but based off numbers and, their career accomplishments. So that's why this fight is big. And whoever wins this fight can definitely change their career around a lot. Because Conor McGregor, any win for him helps him a lot. And Cerrone, if he could put Conor McGregor on his record, is a huge win for him. He stakes some of that star power. So it's still a big fight. It's a big win for whoever wins, because Conor McGregor needs a win more than anything. And Cerrone, if you could beat Conor McGregor, that just puts him right back in the spotlight. It takes all that spotlight off Conor McGregor temporarily, or at least take some of his shine. But yeah, that's besides the point now. So how do these two match up? So look at this right here. I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm kind of get to the point in a bit. I already did a video full in length about it. Could have did better on that one as well, but this one's going to be a little bit short and to the point. Cerrone is a solid striker, definitely more versatile of the two. He has elbows, he has knees, he has punches, he has kicks, he has elbows. I think I said elbows like twice, but yeah, he got submission game. Whereas Conor McGregor is more so boxing. Yeah, more so just boxing. He has some little taekwondo, some type of kicks here and there, but more so that's just for show. So what really Conor McGregor does, he has good precision, good timing, and he can put that left hand on you. Some good combinations, good mix of the body, good footwork. And yeah, he's just a solid fighter, but not really the most tools. He has some elbows, some knees, but definitely not the best. Whereas Cerrone is pretty proficient in every area except defense. But his submission game, his striking game is good, but defensively, that's where he lacks. And over his career, he's been lacking in, head movement. He's good in all this stuff, but he stands right upright. His chin's pretty much on the telephone pole, right there to be smacked. Can't really move that head too much. And he's going against a solid boxer like Conor McGregor, who I think where Cerrone will have his opportunities is either taking Conor McGregor down or attacking his legs. I don't think he really has too much success in either of those, unless maybe he can survive the first round, which I don't think he can, because his head movement really isn't the best. And even if he shells up, Conor McGregor just attacking his body. Conor McGregor is not just a headhunter. If you give him an opportunity, if he sees something, he will attack. So if your body's open, he's going to attack the body. If Cerrone's fighting his typical style, his head's going to be open, and Conor McGregor's going to attack his head. So I think Cerrone's pretty much just fighting a style that he has yet to show that he can beat. And I think as far as takedown defense, I think Conor McGregor has shown good takedown defense enough to stop Cerrone's takedown defense. And Cerrone's takedown defense has never really been that great. His takedown offense has never been that great. So I think Conor McGregor can neutralize his takedowns for the most part. I think if he goes to the ground, I think Conor McGregor's grappling, his submission defense, and all that stuff, as far as the ground game has been, a lot of people been overhyping how bad it is. It's actually pretty solid. I think he's better than average. Matter of fact, I think he's probably in the top 10%. Some people might say, oh, he's this and that. That might sound like a lot. But I'm saying as far as just actual MMA, getting back to your feet, and I'm not talking about all submissions and reversals and sweeps and stuff. As far as, knowing where you at in the fight and getting back to your feet and doing what you got to do to be in the fight, he's better than 10%, because all the people do all the jiu-jitsu and all this other stuff, but they be on the back for like 15 minutes against anyone. That wouldn't be Conor McGregor. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying as far as MMA and against actual competition and where it actually matters, Conor McGregor, I would say in the top 10%. And I think that's reasonable. So I feel like if he gets taken down, he can get back up. And I think he could defend the takedowns for the most part. Then they're going to feet. Cerrone's going to be open. I think he could, whether it be to the body or the head, Conor McGregor is going to attack him there. And Cerrone's not going to really have much of an answer for it. He could try to do leg kicks. Then Conor McGregor probably just counter to the body or counter to the face. Whatever he's not blocking, he'll get countered in that area and just get picked apart. I think Conor McGregor can just walk him down, counter him. When Cerrone fires, he leaves his chin up, leave his hands straight out. And so you can just really come over the top with hooks, just like Gaethje did. Just check him, like make him attack, pressure him, make him attack, check hook him, his chin wide open, just crack him. I think that's one of athletes Conor McGregor is really good at doing these little sneaky check hooks in there. And Cerrone's going to be open for it. I think Conor McGregor just picks him apart and puts him out within the first 2 rounds or within like before the third. So I think, matter of fact, I'm going to say, yeah, second round. So in this fight, I got Conor McGregor via second round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the main card of UFC 246, McGregor versus Cowboy. And as always, thanks for watching.